Hello, everybody, and welcome to VideoGrimes. I'm Sprinkle,
And I'm H.
and today we are going to talk about video game economies and the contrasting nature of some video games. This is going to be a loosey-goosey sort of episode. Like, we don't have a script, we don't have talking points. This is just us shooting the shit and having fun. And so we're going to just kind of jump into this idea. And so I'm going to jump into what am I talking about for video game economics to kind of start the conversation on the right foot. So each video game that we play has an economic system built into it. You can think of the coins in Mario, or you can think of points of like any video game that has a point system. Obviously, some games use money that you can go into like a shop to buy weapons and equipment and upgrades and stuff like that. And I wanted to sort of talk about us as players dealing with these economic systems, and like, because I've noticed that some of them are very satisfying. As a player experiencing these economic systems, some of them feel very satisfying. Like, you put in some work and you grind for a while, or you attack a bunch of enemies, and then you get rewards, loot, money, souls, experience, lives, and you feel a reward from that, and it's satisfying. And then other games don't feel satisfying. Either they're extremely punishing, and you have to grind and grind and grind and spend hours into this game just to get a little bit ahead. And other games are so bloated in their economic systems that money's worthless. And so I want to kind of just discuss this and see if we can give examples of games that feel satisfying to play and games that don't feel satisfying to play. Not in terms of gameplay, but purely the economic rewards, whatever those may be, in the game itself that it gives the player. And try to see if we can find some commonalities and try to understand what makes one system feel bad and the other good. And so that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, when you
And
presented this issue to me, I initially thought you were talking about economies in the external market, which I'm like, wow, this is a big topic. I'm like, I don't know anything about that. I'm going to have to do some research. Give me a month.
right.
But then you told me what you had in mind, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
we
sense.
might tackle that topic on a later note, but that actually segues into the next thing of we are not experts in this. Like, we don't know what we're talking about, really. Like, we're just two gamers who want to kind of discover this topic and just chew the fat. So by no means am I an expert on this. I don't have a degree in economics or anything like that. I'm just a gamer who knows what feels good, knows what feels bad, and I'm going to try to see if I can diagnose what is the difference between a satisfying system and a not satisfying system. Let's get the fun ones out of the way. As fans of our podcast and YouTube channel might know, me and H have been playing Dark Souls a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to defer to you, H, but how do you feel the economic system in Dark Souls, how does that feel to you as somebody coming into this game? Because to the uninitiated, souls in Dark Souls are the economy. They're the money that you get in Dark Souls. And how does that feel to you playing this game?
I think it's pretty much a perfect system in terms of economy, because it forces a lot of choices on you. So it's the souls are the money that you need to buy items or upgrade things. It's also the points that you use to level up. So in traditional RPGs, you grind and you get experience, you level up, and then in the course of that, you also get a lot of money for beating enemies, and so you can get everything you want. You have your cake, you're eating it as well. In Dark Souls, you don't have that opportunity. You have to choose: am I going to level up this round, or am I going to improve my armor?
Oh, okay.
And oftentimes it's one of the either, or you don't necessarily have the opportunity to do both until the end game, where you're just you're you've got souls, coming out your ears. And so I love that decision making that you have. And then on top of that, there's this risk associated with it. So if you die, you lose all your souls, but you can go back to where you died, get your spirit back, and get all your souls back. But those that have played this game have had the awful scenario of dying, trying to get back, and then dying again, thus losing all the souls that you have accumulated, making for, depending on how much you had, a very unpleasant experience. Words
And you
might
can't bank souls. Like there's no like bank that you can deposit your souls,
no,
is there?
no.
Yeah.
And so going into an area, there's the more souls that you have, the more risk averse you become, which affects your gameplay, which affects more decisions that you make throughout the game as to how to tackle an area.
Okay. And I like that idea of they took what is two currencies in our discussion of video game economics. XP, experience points, what you use to level up, is a currency. And I like how Dark Souls took two different currencies, money and XP, and combined them into souls and forced the player to make that choice. I also like the idea of you being able to lose your money, your souls, by dying. That's still satisfying to you as a player. Like you like, let's say you're going through a dungeon and you've accumulated like some monstrous number of souls. Like, let's say,
You're in the five figures or something.
yeah, or like, let's say just like 9,000 souls, over 9,000 souls.
Yeah.
By the way,
yeah.
any Dark Souls player that's ever played is going to laugh at me at the concept of losing only 9,000 souls.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yes, I know. I feel your pain. But regardless, so you go into a room, you're relatively low level, you have over 9,000 souls, and you then die, and then on the way back to getting your souls, you die again, losing everything. But you still say that this game feels rewarding. Like, it still feels like a good economic system. Let's explore that idea.
Yeah, I suppose, thinking about it, what is rewarding about it is that,
Do you feel that it perhaps the risk and reality of losing money intrinsically makes it more valuable?
the souls are definitely valuable. Yeah, they definitely have value. I'm trying to think of contrasting it with other. Maybe we should talk about poor experiences.
Okay. I wanted to contrast Dark Souls, which has this very deep intrinsic risk, with a game that has no risk at all. And that's the new and shiny and wonderful Super Mario Odyssey for the Switch. It's an amazing game. I've been playing it like a lot. I love this game. It is so much fun, and I hope to do an entire video just on it. I have no idea how I'm going to get footage. We'll find that out later. But in Super Mario Odyssey, you get the gold coins, the classic video game money. I'm not going to say it's the first time money was ever introduced in a game, but it's the most popular of the first games that introduced this money system. And if we take a small detour into history, back in the old days of Mario, you would just play through the level and you would collect coins. And coins were more of a points. Like, it was just like your progress throughout a level. And once you got enough coins, you would gain a level up. Or not a level up, a 1-up of an extra life. And lives in the old Super Mario games were your currency that mattered to you. because how many lives you had in Mario depicted exactly how many times you can screw up before it's game over.
Yeah.
And so there was this desire to collect coins, not for the coins themselves, but for, in a way, collecting enough coins to purchase an extra life. There's no store, obviously, just once you reach the magical number, whatever that number is, because it's changed depending on which game had live systems, but once you gain a certain number of coins, you then automatically purchase a level up, or a one up. I keep saying level up. What the fuck? A one up. And now in Super Mario Odyssey, there are no live systems. You can die as many times as you please, and you'll always go back to the checkpoint that you last activated. And instead, you only lose, like, I don't even know the exact number. I'll put it up on screen. But it's like a very low number in the grand scheme of things. And like it's like 10 coins maybe. And when I have like 1,000 coins, losing 10 coins means almost nothing to me. I can die 100 times before I'm going to start feeling like before I hit zero. And I don't even know what happens when you die at 0 coins, because I can always run back and get the coins that I lost. And there are so many coins in this game. Like I right now I've just hit like the 10,000 mark in Super Mario Odyssey, and there's like the game throws coins at you, and it almost feels like death in Super Mario Odyssey is meaningless because I just lost 10 coins. I can run around the map for probably like less than a minute and collect all those coins back.
It sounds like they're appealing more to a fun dynamic rather than a challenge dynamic.
Definitely.
Because in the old school games, I'm talking Mario, Sonic, the platformers that have those coins or
and those live systems.
Yeah, those live systems. There was one reason. One reason for that, the live system is you couldn't save a game. You couldn't save a game until, like the 90s.
Or like once you did save your game, it was at the end of a level. Mm-hmm. Like each level was, once you reach the end of the level, that's when the game saves for you. But you can't save the game in the middle of a level. And so the live system was kind of how many times can you screw up in this level. But yeah, and Mario just feels so inflated now. Like the individual value of a single coin in Super Mario Odyssey is near worthless next to like a soul from Dark Souls. And Super Mario has also done this thing where each individual world, I'm going to say level for just, ease of speak, there are 2 different currencies. There's the gold coins that everybody knows and loves, and then each individual level has its own unique currency. That there is a finite number of those coins in the level. And they're like purple and they have different shapes. And those coins actually have a lot more value because, next thing is, how do you spend these coins in Super Mario Odyssey? Well, you go to an in-game shop and you can buy clothing, you can buy little knickknacks, but it's all like cosmetic shit. Like there's nothing in Super Mario that you have to buy in order to like hard progress through the game. There's, little rooms that you can unlock if you're dressed a certain way. Like there's a room that only chefs are allowed in, so you need like a chef's outfit. And so you go to the store and you buy the chef's outfit and you go in. But like even then, those outfits, once you start really getting into the game after the first couple of worlds, it's almost nothing to spend those currencies on the outfits that you need in order to get into secret rooms. And so Mario is extremely inflated in terms of its currency. It's still a great game, but I get this feeling that the money's almost worthless. And I want to point out an awesome video that Gaijin Goomba did on his channel, explicitly exploring the idea of Mario Odyssey's economic system and equating it to historical Japan, because historical Japan and their gold currency, I forget what it was called, went through this exact problem of hyperinflation, where their gold coin was meaningless. And actually, each individual region of Japan started counterfeiting their own coins, and those counterfeits were actually worth more than the national currency.
That's really fascinating.
And so Super Mario Odyssey mirrors this idea of ancient Japan, in that the national currency that's accepted everywhere is so inflated it's meaningless and worthless, but these regional currencies that are counterfeits are now more valuable. And that's just an interesting idea, that contrasting these things. So there's another example. Like, I'm not drawing any conclusions out of this yet, but
So,
like we're gathering more stuff.
while you were talking about that, I did a little bit more thinking, and the reason I like the system in Dark Souls, and maybe why it's appealing, is not necessarily the system of money, or the economy, but more so how it integrates with the rest of the game. So
Okay.
I had to think about, a system that's not enjoyable, and maybe we can talk about that. And in looking at other RPGs, especially JRPGs, Final
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy games, but I have a lot of memories of just playing it for hours. You find your spot and you just circle around the area, fighting over and over and over and over again, until you get the level that you want, the amount of money that you need, or both, to tackle the boss, or to progress easier in the next part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And this is different in Dark Souls, because while you want to level, you definitely want to level, and you want to improve your stuff, it can be argued that that's only a marginal improvement, because what's the most important
Amount of time invested in the grinding
what's that?
compared to JRPG. Like, would you say that grinding, quote unquote, in Dark Souls, the amount of time that you invest in that versus, your next level of progression is a lot more satisfying than the massive amount of time that you have to invest in like a JRPG?
Well, I'm saying that I think leveling is less important in Dark Souls, because the improvements gained is a marginal improvement, whereas
Okay.
you want to focus on understanding the enemy, figuring out how to avoid the attacks, and make
Your
it.
player knowledge is more important
It's your
than.
player knowledge and your own skill as a
Yeah.
player. It's not necessarily your stats, which in a JRPG, it's all about stats. And so you spend hours grinding, getting better
Oh,
stats.
I get you.
Yeah, which makes for a less pleasant experience. I don't know, some people might get into that.
All right.
I remember at one time, like, I would just listen to music, and grind. And I have a lot of memories of doing just that.
Me and RuneScape.
And nowadays I don't really have that much patience for that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
But I think that's one difference, one huge difference of what makes one system feel good, whereas one does not.
Yeah, because one is just like a calculation, like the JRPG and your stats and leveling and how you built your character is the numbers are what are doing the heavy lifting in terms of your character's performance in the game. Whereas in Dark Souls, the raw numbers are meaningless, next to meaningless, because some naked guy with a club can run through the whole game, never level up once, and beat the final boss in Dark Souls
Yeah.
because the player is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
These are speedrunners, but it shows that stats in Dark Souls are there more to assist you in you personally getting better. Like, if you have more stamina, you can swing more times in order to deal more damage. Or if you have more health, then you can make more mistakes before you die, and thus allowing you to learn a lesson without the punishment of death. That's kind of like, that's what I've been telling like Bug and you. If you're new to a Dark Souls game, another friend of mine, Pies, is playing Dark Souls 3. Poor sod. I always tell him, hey, you need to at least invest a little bit into your health in order to gain more health, because the more health you have as a beginner player, the more mistakes you are afforded to make in any one encounter.
Just
and
like
those
what
mistakes,
you were saying with coins.
Yeah. Like
Coins
in
and
Super
lives.
Mario, you can just jump off a ledge for fun, and there's no risk involved, and that allows you to learn what the level is trying to teach you, or like, learn your environment, and that shows like less risk. That's interesting. Okay.
One thing one divergent topic that I wanted to make is the difference between limited and unlimited economies.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay.
So, something like a Mario, there's a limited amount of coins. Therefore, there's a limited amount of. Well, you can also, glitch, Goomba jumps or something like that. But ideally, there's only so many lives that you can gain from that point system.
Yeah, in the old Marios, yeah.
Yeah. Dark Souls, you can grind forever, get as many souls as you want. But
unless it's Dark Souls 2.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
Fuck Dark Souls. If you kill an enemy enough times, that enemy stops spawning. It's bullshit.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm so glad they got rid of that system. That was a terrible choice.
But one game that came to mind is Resident Evil.
Oh.
So
okay.
There's no money, but the economy is the items that you find. So you really have to do a lot of managing of weapon ammo.
Because so like ammo
and health items. I mean, you have
and
to.
And they're finite.
Yeah, there's only so many in the game, and you have to make some judgment calls on which zombies to kill, or which ones you can feel like you can afford to dodge. Or
I remember that in Resident Evil 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, for the original PlayStation.
And same thing with the healing items. I mean, should you use that last first aid spray, or can you hobble along a little bit until you can find some other stuff?
And that felt really satisfying.
Yeah, because it adds to the tension of the game, which is the whole point of it. You're in this house, you're trapped there with zombies. You're trying to figure out the mystery, and you only have 7 bullets in your gun.
Oh, wow. I didn't make that connection, but yeah, you're absolutely right. So, having a limited... Okay, so we have Dark Souls, which is not a limited economy, and we have Resident Evil that is, but both feel satisfying, possibly for different reasons. We have Mario, which I'm going to say is an unsatisfying economy, just because I'm not thrilled anytime I pick up a single coin. So I'm like, eh. I mean, it's still a great game.
The coin system,
greatness of the game does not matter in this economy discussion.
The coin system is just because it's Mario, and Mario has coins. I think that's the whole reason that coins are still there, is because...
nostalgia.
It's nostalgia, and it's the brand. It's who Mario is. He
Nintendo. We do nostalgia.
Yeah.
One game that is very not satisfying, that is on that unlimited amount of money, is Grand Theft Auto Online. And I've been playing a lot of GTA Online, and it's a lot of fun. It's a fantastic game, but the economy in the game, I feel, is very broken, and it doesn't feel satisfying or good, because in the game of GTA, you are playing against fellow players, so your character like levels up, and each time you level up, there are milestones where you unlock new weapons and new equipment. And I think the highest level where you've unlocked everything in the game is like 120. I might be wrong. And the amount of money that your character has that you've accumulated through bank robberies, heists, killing players, robbing stores, running drugs, whatever, the activities of the game, the more money your character has, the more, I'm not going to say the more powerful you are. Like, there is a segment of the GTA fan base that is very much of the opinion that it is a pay-to-win system, or the more money a character has, the more overpowered they are. In my experience, the level of skill the player has can normally mean the difference in a fight. So I'm not going to be in that camp and say that GTA is a pay-to-win system. I disagree with that idea, but I do understand that the more money a character has, the more tools they have at their disposal. And Sage actually said it best. It's not a pay to win; it's pay to have fun.
Yeah.
The game comes out with these regular updates that are awesome. I love the updates. I love the things that they come out with. But like, let's say they come out with like 5 new cars. Well, the problem is that these cars, each car is going to cost between $500,000 to $2 million each. And in order to gain $500,000, you have to go through a lot of in-game hours in order to acquire that amount of money in order to buy the new shiny toy. Now, is this new shiny toy going to do anything for you in a, player versus player, this guy wants to kill me, matchup? That's kind of hard to say. But it is a toy to have fun. GTA is a giant sandbox of fun.
They're status symbols.
It's like it's a status symbol.
In Overwatch, none of the loot box items affect your gameplay or your ability to win, but it's just kind of to show off. Like if you have a legendary skin, you're kind of cool.
You're showing off.
Yeah, you're like look at me, look at my character.
GTA is slightly different in that, let's say there's a new attack helicopter in the game. They came up with a new attack helicopter, and it has all these cool weapons and abilities. Utilized in the correct context, that weapon can give me a significant advantage against a fellow player.
Oh, definitely.
It's not entirely cosmetic, and certainly there are some things that are truly broken. There's now tanks that you can drive around in the game that have railguns attached to them. You can purchase a underground bunker that literally has an orbital cannon, where a satellite in space shoots somebody with a giant laser and blows them up. I haven't seen the laser fired, but it's apparently such a massive explosion that it can kill multiple players in one shot.
Wow.
The thing is, it costs, I think, $50,000 just to fire the orbital cannon once. And so now we're starting to step into this idea of more money equals more power in GTA.
So it's simulating capitalism.
Yes, GTA is pretty much a snarky, like thumbing your nose at the American dream and capitalism. So yes, very much so. This compounds the problem because there are 2 ways to get money in GTA Online. Whether the developers intended this or not, the reality is, I just got a text. Motherfucker, I'm muting that. People wishing me happy birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, by the way.
Yay. So, whether the developers want to admit it or not, GTA Online, there are 2 ways to get money. There's the legitimate way of grinding missions and doing activities to gain money. And then there's the illegal way of modders installing mods from a website and then using that as a cheat to just cheat themselves infinite money. And this has created a very wide disparity in the game of people who have unbelievable amounts of money, millions, billions of dollars, and they can just shoot an orbital cannon all day long and just have no repercussions for it. And they can have all the most amazing toys in the entire game, all of it unlocked, and they have the entire game's tool set at their disposal. Adding in, of course, the cheats, because they can just cheat and just say, lol, everybody is now in the shape of a shark, and everybody has Ferris wheels attached to their bodies. Oh yeah, and by the way, everybody explodes all at once because I just spawned TNT or C4 on every single character across the map. Boom. So those are the two realities of GTA. And grinding so much to gain money just to get one specific new toy in an update that could contain like 5 cars, 2 helicopters, and 3 planes? Holy shit. You're talking at least a month of nonstop gameplay just to unlock everything in a new update. And it really doesn't feel satisfying because that's a fuckload of money that you have to grind for just to get a new toy. And it's really not a satisfying experience, even in a world that has unlimited money. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like, you have unlimited money in terms of the economy of the game, because every time you do a mission, it just prints new money for you.
Uh-huh.
There is no finite amount of money.
They're not on a gold standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have hackers that are just like literally throwing money at people, or, blowing people up or whatever, or just throwing money at themselves in order to get everything. And yet it still feels like there's this giant grind and it's a very broken system, and it's not satisfying at all. And I really can't put my finger on the difference between GTA and the individual dollar being a grind fest, Mario, and each coin is near worthless because they're so easy to come by, and the balance of like Dark Souls or the other example that you gave.
Is it because there's this outside influence that is making it feel unfair?
Well, it definitely the cheaters make the game feel unfair. But if I had a magic genie and I just rubbed the lamp and say, I want all cheaters and mods for GTA to just vanish, it would still feel like a grind fest. Maybe the developers would make different game choices, because looking at you, Rockstar, you did come out with an update for the game called the Ill-Gotten Gains update, where you came out with solid gold shoes, t-shirts, pants, and jackets specifically because modders were modding in millions of dollars and you wanted to waste all the money that the modders, modded into the game. So
they specifically made extremely expensive stuff so that the modders would spend money on that?
I guess.
But
I don't really understand their logic with that. Yeah.
The modders could just make more money.
Yeah, and then you're punishing the legitimate players who want something nice and don't want to grind months for. There's a very big disconnect, I feel, between the regular player and the developers in GTA.
Hey, maybe, you come across a player that is decked out in that gold stuff. Hey, that guy's a modder. It's kind of like
legitimately. It's you instantly think, oh, that person has a solid gold insert thing here. He's a modder. Me and Sage actually had this exact problem where in the Ill-Gotten Gains update, there was a solid gold luxury jet. And it could house 12 players. You could drink wine and smoke cigars in the back. And it was a solid gold jet. We, as a clan, just a group of 5 to 8 friends, wanted a golden Luxor for ourselves. And we wanted this private golden jet, and so we grinded and grinded and grinded for a solid month just to get Sage enough money to buy this golden jet. By the way, cost $10 million.
Whoa.
That is
It's a
insane.
lot of
And
money.
then, and guess what? Once we bought the jet, do you know what that gave us? A jet that could blow up in one hit, that served no tactical purpose whatsoever, and that any time that Sage flew it around, everybody instantly called him a cheater.
Mm.
Even though
Even though
we did it
you, yeah,
legitimately.
you grinded for it.
Yeah, and that's the unsatisfying feeling of the game, is that if I had a magic genie and I wished all of the modders away and all the cheats be banished, it would still feel like a grind fest, because then everybody would have to legitimately grind and grind and grind and grind in order to even get a little bit of progress towards, a new shiny toy that they wanted. And this is obviously assuming that the developers don't wake the hell up from their fever dream and realize that they're fucking their players. I you know, I think the contrast between all these ideas of GTA, Dark Souls, Mario, Resident Evil is the amount of in-world time that you spend getting your desired toy. Because, like, you don't have to grind that much in Dark Souls to buy a new weapon or to, progress through the game.
I'm doing a lot of grinding right now, but it's the main reason is for
The
basically
drops.
random number generation, and
Yeah.
not a specific number of souls that I need. So yeah,
Yeah,
you're
if
kind of
if
right.
you could buy a Titanite slab, you would already be golden.
Exactly.
And so that's another thing of, like, our items considered an economic factor in the game. I would say
I
yes.
would say yes as well.
But that's the difference in what makes a game feel good to a player, I think, is the amount of time that you invest in order to feel like you've gained progress. Whether or not you have or not, doesn't matter. In GTA, like, progress in the game is either getting a new toy or acquiring something new. And the amount of time that you have to spend in that is astronomical. Meanwhile, in Mario, the instant I walk into a new world, I can just go up to the shop and say, hey, I got 10,000 coins, what can I buy? Boink, already got it. There's no time invested in getting the new shiny outfit. And Dark Souls, I think, strikes a nice balance of, in a normal game session, barring, what you're doing, upgrading your armor, you can play the game for probably about 2 hours of non-death and really feel like you've accomplished something.
So the key is to get players to focus less on the economy. Like the less you think
Yeah,
about it, the more fun you have.
yeah,
Yeah.
and make the act of playing the game rewarding in an economic sense. Extra Credits talked about this idea of intrinsic reward versus extrinsic reward. I might be screwing up the words. But intrinsic reward is, hey, this game is fun. Jumping on Goombas is a lot of fun. I like killing zombies in Dark Souls, and I like blowing people up in GTA. That's the enjoyment. And
Mm-hmm.
then the external factor is the reward, the loot, the money, and the economy. And I feel that the closer that game developers can marry these two different reward systems, the more enjoyable it is for the player to experience. And it feels like GTA and Mario have diverged from that and have focused on two different things. Mario focuses more on the fun, and GTA focuses more on how many hours are you willing to grind in order to get a new car that is, like, barely functionally different than any other car in the game until you get to the crazy shit. I really like your Resident Evil
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
example.
it occurred to
Yeah.
me several days ago, and I'm like, oh man, like
Any
it's
other
they're items, but it's an economy.
any other systems that you would say are, like, not rewarding at all, and probably trying to diagnose why?
I not that I think of. I do want a special shout out to the Fallout series,
Oh, all
because
right.
it's basically coins, but it's bottle caps,
Mm-hmm.
and I just love that that notion that in the apocalypse, people will value bottle caps as currency.
Definitely the lore of the world, if you're invested in the story, can really make a difference in how you view, like, the economy of the game. Because, like, gathering gold in, say, Skyrim feels really different than collecting bottle caps in Fallout, even though they're I'm not going to say they're the same game, but come on, the comparisons are it might be apples to oranges, but they're still damn fruit.
Yeah, one's sci-fi dystopia, the other's fantasy, but they play about the same.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Souls and Dark Souls and humanity in Dark Souls. The lore of the currency can definitely make it feel different. That's interesting. I like that idea.
Shall we
That sounds
wrap
like a
it
fun
up?
discussion. Yeah. All right. So now this is the point where we're going to leave it to you, the listeners. Please leave a comment down below and give us some examples of games that you feel have a very rewarding and enjoyable economic system, and other games that you feel fall short or miss the point. And I look forward to having all those discussions in the comments down below, and to perhaps follow up on this episode with more examples and try to, explore this topic more, because this isn't a podcast that came to any very one specific conclusion. This is an ongoing conversation. H, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, definitely.
This awesomeness.
It was fun. Thanks for listening.
And we will see all of you next time. You can follow us on Twitter at VidGrimes. You can follow Jordan at Life in Context. And you can follow us on Twitch, where we do stupid stuff at completely random times at twitch.tv/VideoGrimes. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.